Alyssa Reynolds here on this lovely Saturday morning for me. And I am so excited for this live today. And especially because all of you are so excited too. And that just gets me even more excited, feeding off of all of your excitement and all of your joy. So thank you everyone for just saying how excited you are for this live this morning, because it's really buoyed me up even more than I already was, because the unicorns have a very special place in my heart, right next to the fairies. I love the fairies, and I've been connected with ever since I was really little, but the unicorns have a place, especially one particular unicorn that's completely unique and of its own. And I'm sure many of you have experiences like that yourselves. So I wanted to start out this live just sharing some stories with you about why the unicorns have such a special place in my heart for me, and why I am so excited to be doing this live today and having a chance to introduce you to a couple different unicorns who I've connected with before, and one of them for quite a bit. And anyway, I would love if in the comments as we're going along, if you feel a pull to share a little bit about your own experiences with the unicorns. I always love to hear. So for me, I was first really connected with the fairies, as I said, but when I was playing piano one day, and some of you who were watching my live on Wednesday will have heard this story. So I'll keep it kind of broad and general. I was playing piano, and all of a sudden I found myself transported to this beautiful forest trail that was full of fairies and water nymphs and waterfalls. And then this small, delicate unicorn stepped up over a ledge and then came down into the vale. And that was the first time that I met this unicorn who called herself Mystic, and she then was always around me after that point. She started appearing in my dreams as a little girl, and then she started showing up when I was outside around this big copse of trees just out in the schoolyard. And even then I was like, okay, I'm just imagining this. But then she started showing up in the school, and I'd see flashes out of the corner of my eye, and she was always with me. And anytime I'd see the flashes, then I'd feel this lift in my mood, and like, oh, Mystic's with me, this is wonderful. And I'd get really excited, and it was like my own private little party going on that really helped me get through school, especially elementary school. But as happens in this 3D reality, and with all the different layers of society that we have, as I got into my teenage years, I started really believing the difference between reality and fantasy or imagination, and just accepted what adults around me said, which was, well, your imagination is fantasy, it's not real, it's not real. And then I found I wasn't connecting with the fairies or Mystic, and they kind of fell out of my day-to-day life. Like, I always felt like they were still there, but I was not catching little moments of flashes and color or giggling as I had when I was younger. And it wasn't until I started consciously channeling that I came right back around and really, really understood the difference between what we all kind of grow up being told that is like reality and fantasy. And this difference I will get to, but I just wanted to finish with how I was doing a course with Ashley Cunningham on an introduction to the fairy realm, and so many different beings had stepped forward. The dwarves had stepped forward first, saying they wanted us to create this course to introduce people to all the different elemental beings. And that's when, for the first time in quite a few years, I had a very vivid dream and connection with Mystic. And at first I discounted it, because me being an adult, I was like, no, that probably was just childish imagination and wonder. But then she showed up again when I was meditating. And I was like, okay, maybe you're real. So then I sat a little bit longer in meditation and I started asking her questions and doing what I always encourage everyone to do, which is feel in your body the yeses and the nos, so that you can start pulling apart the reality versus fantasy things that the society that we all live in and grow up through in this 3D reality often makes us think and changes our perceptions. And by feeling in our body, we can know individually what is the truth. So I sat there in meditation and was asking her questions and was feeling all this lift up of yes, this is truth, this is real, this is who you were connected with as a child. Whereas, I also, just for a bit of a test, asked about another childhood experience that I'm sure many of you can relate to, which is the idea of toys can come alive. I grew up with Toy Story as a little girl, so it really, really influenced me in believing that toys could come alive. And that's that societal belief that changes your understanding of reality versus fantasy in another way. And so as a child, I also believed that toys would come alive at night. And so then as an adult, I tuned in and asked, was that a real belief? Do toys actually come alive? Do they have an energy and a spirit of their own? And for that answer, I was getting a big pullback of, no, it's not how that movie, those stories made you feel or think as a child. Everything has an energy, but they're not coming alive. And so by doing that little practice of just tuning into a basic yes and no feeling within me, by just asking yes and no questions, then I was really able to determine the differences between things that I was believing as a child. So if any of you, and I'm sure many of you, have had experiences as a child where you had what adults may have called your imaginary friend, or maybe you were connected with dwarves or elves or fairies or gnomes or brownies or unicorns, and you found that connection has not been as strong over the years. So I encourage you to sit down when you're meditating, or maybe you're just walking outdoors, or you just have a quiet moment. Quiet your mind and just ask the question in your head or out loud, was so-and-so belief or so-and-so connection when I was a child real? Are they an energy I can connect with now? Just ask something like that and then feel within your body, do you get this big pull up of, yes, yes, this is the truth, this is real, this is just making me excited and vibrant? Or do you get a bit of a pullback and kind of this sinking feeling of, no, that was something that was created more by society and things that a collective of people have created or made real in their own way. I know all of this stuff is big for a Saturday morning. Really, really big. But it's something I just wanted to touch on a little bit because it was what, as I'd grown up, had made me lose some of that connection that I had with mystic and with the fairies and so many other magical beings that I had had when I was a child. But we can still have it even as adults today. So that's the wonderful thing, that there's never an end point, that you can always, always, always go back and connect and explore and find out more about your own imaginings and discover their realities. So, without further ado, because they've been hanging around me all morning, I woke up this morning, actually, to one of the unicorns standing over my bed, and he whinnied in my mouth, woke me up. I was quite excited. So there's two of them that I'm connecting with today. So Mystic, who is my guardian unicorn. She was particularly my guardian unicorn when I was younger, as a child, as that's generally when unicorns are stepping forward to offer support. They tend to focus upon children, and that's essentially their domain. But it doesn't mean that they necessarily go away as an adult. They will still be around you, though Mystic doesn't step forward nearly as much as she did when I was a child. She only steps forward now when I specifically ask her if she has anything to say, or if I just wish to feel her wonderful, just vibrant and peaceful and very innocent energy. And the other unicorn is one who I connected with back when I was doing the Fairy Realm course with Ashley Cunningham a number of months ago, back in the spring. And his name is Jor. And he has a much stronger energy compared to Mystic. He's also, in my mind, a much bigger unicorn. So he's more like those thoroughbred horses in his build. So very, very big, very muscular, and yet still has a sense of peace and calm, but more of that kind of like male guardian kind of strength compared to Mystic's more gentle, more delicate feel. So Mystic is stepping forward first with, she says she has a few words she wishes to say upon the subject of who the unicorns are, where they came from, and especially a message to children. So she's saying now, hello dear ones, thank you so much for gathering together today to connect with my energy and to feel the words that I have to say. For by being here, you will spread out my words, for they're an energy too, to all those who you come in contact with. And I wish to speak upon us, the unicorns, and how we are back more than we ever have before. Not since when we first came to be. When we first came to be with the Lemurian people, who brought us out of their own imagining and brought us here to be upon Gaia's back. And we are so, so excited to be here more, in more numbers than ever since then. To be here to work specifically with all of the children who are here now upon Gaia's back. For that is, as Alyssa said, our main domain. We work with children. We work with children to remind them and to inspire them in all that they do, to encourage their bright lights that still shine with all the purity of Source. We work with children to encourage them to keep shining, to not let go of their light, to, oh my gosh, to know that they matter just as much as any adult, and they can make a difference as much as any adult, if not even more, because of how close they yet are still to Source and the light of Source. These are words to all the children out there. You have a bright, bright flame within you. That is a bright light. That is a beacon. And whatever you do, let it shine. Whatever you do, and it will shine. No matter what you are surrounded with, hold to your dreams. Hold to the things that make you laugh, little giggles and deep belly chuckles. The things that make you dance, that make you want to be that which you are not yet, or that which you just wish to try upon. Just putting into mind like all these images of dressing up in different forms and costumes. Oh. For you children can be whatever you desire to be. And in whatever moment you wish to be something, you are that. If you wish to be a pirate on the 7 seas, know this, children, that in that moment you will be that. And that is the magic that we unicorns wish to spread. That magic of belief, of imagination, and the power that you have with it. And all that you go through as you grow day by day, and your year by another year, and by another year. Whatever you face, you can face it because you have imagination, you have belief, you have the bright light of source within you. And it shines so bright. We give you all our love, always. All you children. And know that even if you cannot see us, you can call upon us, and we will be there. We will be there to help support you through whatever experience you are walking. Thank you, Mystic. Oh my gosh. Oh. So, she stepped back a little bit there. And Jor's stepping forward now. And he's saying that he wishes to speak now to all of the adults. And this message is for all of you. And he says, "Hello, dear ones. I wish for it to be known that though we unicorns do focus much of our energy upon children, and they are the lights who we support the most, no matter your age, you have a child within you. This child takes on many forms. He says, the different forms of this child within you are what I wish to speak upon today. For we can help you with these different aspects of the child that is still within you, even if your physical incarnation has grown beyond those years. The first is that which you call the inner child. This is the child of your heart, of your soul. This is the child that is your core. It is the core that reaches its roots deep through all that you are, in consciousness, in subconsciousness, and to your higher self. And so, giving attention to your inner child is as vital as giving attention and care to that of a child. One who you would call a child by their age. Your inner child is just as important. And giving care to this inner child is just as simple. Show them love the way you would show a child love. Hug them the way you would hug a child. Forgive them the way you would a child who has gone into the cookie jar before dinner. And cry with the child to help them release, so that that inner child is more open for all the joys and all the love that you give it daily. Speak to your inner child daily. Just speak to your inner child. And this you can do by looking in a mirror or in any quiet moment. Just speak to the inner child. Tell it that you are there and you love it and you are looking after it and are so thankful and grateful for its presence within your heart as your core of who you are, of that which builds all that you are. And we, if you wish and call upon us, can come and help support you in giving love and care to your inner child. And then the other child, now the other child I wish to speak upon, he says, is that child that you were in age. And no matter if you had what many in this 3D realm term as the idyllic childhood or the happy childhood, you have a child who was the age of one so new and so fresh upon Gaia's back just returned to a physical form. And that little child, though you are no longer that child, also is a part of you now. It is your eternal child. And he says, I wish to address what is also often said in your 3D reality, in disparaging ways, about being an eternal child. Release that now, he says, for that is merely a construct of the 3D realm. Be an eternal child. Be all that you believe a child should be, no matter if you physically experienced it or not. Be one full of joy. Be one that stops to admire the shapes and clouds, the falling leaves, the trickle of rain, to giggle when stepping in puddles of mud, to let yourself step into puddles, and to leap into piles of leaves, to roll in sand, to build sandcastles, to hug trees, to run and to skip, and most of all, just to laugh. Laugh at anything and everything. Just laugh because you can. Laugh because you saw your favorite color. Laugh because it is simply a new day and you have woken up to enjoy the new day, and you will enjoy it if you wish to, for there is always things to laugh at, things to smile at, and there is always others around you to laugh with and to smile with. And if you are going through moments when being the dancing child, when being the singing child is a challenge, let yourself be the crying child. Let yourself release all that is within you. For he's using a phrase from The Lord of the Rings. He knows it. He's saying, not all tears are evil. Tears, in fact, he says, are beautiful. Tears are that which feeds Gaia's back. They are that which allow flowers to grow, trees to flourish, ponds to fill. They are the bubbling rivers that flow across all corners of this earth and connect everything and all that is here together as one. So know this and remember this, that if, as you turn to your eternal child, you find a need to cry, or you just find yourself doing so, allow it and celebrate it too, for tears are beautiful. And just as they did when you were physically a child, just as they do when you work with your inner child, they allow you to open up, raising your arms to all the beauty that is here and is beyond here. And it comes in. It is called in the moment you let go and you release. All the joys, the beauties that are here upon Gaia's back and are beyond will flow to you. And last, as you work with being an eternal child, even if you walk in a body that is older and as an adult, be loving always. Be loving with all that you do, to yourself and to all those around you, just as a child would. Show all things and all beings love. And when another does something that causes challenge or hurt, when you yourself does something that causes challenge or hurt, respond with love. Give them love. Give yourself love. For those moments of challenge and hurt are part of being here, and they make those moments of laughter, taking a walk in nature, of receiving or giving a smile, all the more precious. And that, above all, is what we unicorns wish to relay to all of you, that each of you is precious as each flower and leaf and river and squirrel that exists across Gaia's back. And we are here, no matter your age, to help support you in finding love within yourself and spreading love outside of yourself. For each of you is so precious, and we give you our love. says, that is all we wished to relay to each of you at this time. But we will remain here in this moment if any of you have any questions, any curiosities, for we are always here to encourage curiosity. Oh, thank you. Oh, oh my gosh. I don't know. All of you, I don't know about all of you, but whew, need to take a little bit of a breath there. Yeah, yes, Madeline. Oh, there's one thing that has really, really, really sunk in over the years. It's that nothing is unbelievable and everything is just as real as we do wish it to be, and is more real than we may even believe it to be, which is especially magical and wonderful when it comes to connecting with all of these beings that are out there that we're only now really, really getting to connect with again. So I'm just going to pop my attention over to my laptop here just to catch up on any of your lovely, lovely comments in case any of you do have any questions. Unicorns are good about that. Ooh, wow, Susan, that is a good question. So, Susan asked earlier on, do we believe in unicorns and other elementals because they exist, or do they exist because we believe after many lifetimes of folklore and stories? So, those folklore and stories bringing certain things into manifestation. Are they energetic beings that present themselves in the form that we accept as a way of identifying them? Ooh, lots there, Susan. So that's a good one. And I'm curious, actually, because actually I saw just now the one of you, or a couple of you, were talking about Santa. So, let's see, sure. So George is saying that the unicorns, have existed since the time of Lemuria. They were manifested, brought into creation specifically, he says, by the Lemurians and their work with the energy of crystals at that time. And there are others that were also created in a similar fashion. He says, though many of them have not yet stepped forward and may not yet for some time, for they have not been spoken of as much as the unicorns, he's saying, and other beings, he says, who live across Gaia's back, that we term as elementals or beings of fairy or the fairy realm. They have always been here and were part of Gaia and are part of Gaia. They're part of her energies. And we, especially when the frequencies were higher, connected with them. And even when the frequencies were lower, many still connected with those who return as the elementals or of the fairy realm. And that is where he says, many of your stories have come, though to remember that the stories do have the color of the times that they were written in, but the beings themselves that are spoken of are out there. And some, yes, he says, have been brought into existence by your collective manifestation. Oh my gosh. Really? So he's saying now, just like our stories of Santa Claus or Father Christmas, he is an energy that is one of those that came to be because of our stories. That is so amazing. Oh my gosh. Wow. Thank you, Jor. Whoa. So hopefully that answered your question a little bit there, Susan. I'm just kind of reeling a little bit over, yeah, that realization of the fact that, yes, Santa is real and he is out there, because that's amazing. Just that power that we have, if enough of us get together to believing and thinking and speaking of something, it comes to be, which really, oh, that just makes me feel so wonderful, because that means that all of this love that we're all spreading and coming together to just create in our communities, that's bringing it into manifest, all that love. Oh, love, oh my gosh. That's wonderful. Oh. Ooh, good question, Karen. So Karen's asking if there are places where we can connect with unicorns more strongly. Okay, and George says, no, they are here and everywhere. They come and go wherever we wish them to be, because they don't exist and live upon this particular reality anymore, and they're in another reality. They come and go as they are needed, as they are called upon. Especially in dreams, sorry, he says. Oops. And one moment, my laptop is just... and, ooh. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, Sheena. It totally does. Oh my gosh. Lovely. Alright. So, just catching up on a couple more of your questions. Ooh. Oh, that's so sweet, Madeline. Oh, that is so sweet. So Madeline here is just asking if her youngest child with autism has seen them, And oh my gosh, she's a child after my own heart. She loved unicorns and rainbows long before it was popular. Oh, the best. Though, really, I just love children in general myself. Got the best imagination. Oh. So, Madeline, what I'm getting is that she is very, very connected with spirit in general, and that, yes, of the many beings that she's connected with, she has connected with unicorns. And does she have? Yeah. Aww. And she does have 2 unicorns. She's got 2 who do work with her and have worked with her. Aww. That's so sweet. Oh. Aw, that's okay, Tara. Once this live is over, you'll be able to rewatch it. It'll just be up on the main page of the group, and then if you aren't able to pop back and rewatch it, it will be up over on my YouTube channel later on today. So never any worries, Tara, if you do miss any moment of a live. And yeah, I can definitely mention that again. So, Tara, the unicorns to me, well, the 2 that I was channeling today, I did describe at the beginning how they feel specifically to me, because just like any being, each being has a very specific kind of signature, though just in general, unicorns are very, very peaceful and so heart-centered. They're probably one of the most heart-centered elemental beings that I've come across. So they're all really heart-centered. The unicorns are the most. And if you are feeling that it is unicorns, another thing I was mentioning in the beginning, but I'll just mention it again. Sit quietly, let your mind go into that daydreaming state that you had in high school, and ask yourself that question. Was there a unicorn around me, or are there unicorns around me? And then feel within your body, do you get this uplifting feeling of yes, or do you kind of get a sinking feeling of no? And then that gives you your answer. And then you can even call them in by just in your mind or out loud, however is most comfortable, and just ask the unicorns to step into your space, to step into your energy. And all of you can do this just to practice and get a feel for the way that the unicorns feel to you. And what you can do then is ask them, are there unicorns around me? And then again, you can do that yes, no feeling when you've called them specifically into your space as well. And as for how you may feel them in terms of tingling on your side or pressure on your head, that's also a very individual thing, because we all have our energy centers open to different degrees. So for me, because the unicorns feel just so heart-centered to me, that's especially because they go right into my heart chakra, and that's where I feel them the most strongly. And then I also well, Jor was over here, he's moved back behind me now, and then Mystic was over here on this side more, but she's also moved a little bit further back, so they're both further back at the moment. But could feel their energy just around me. And that's something as well, that just sitting quietly and tuning into how your body feels and taking note of what you're feeling in your body, and then kind of like sending little strings out or ropes out or blankets out with your mind, and getting a sense of, okay, what's the energy around me. And to practice this, you can just start by closing your eyes and with your mind tuning into the different pieces of furniture that are in your room. And the more and more you practice this, the more you will start being able to differentiate just what you feel in your body and how your body feels in a particular moment, versus the energy that's, say, right here. So, yeah. So all of you can totally try that after this live. Ask the unicorns to come into your space and just get a feel of how they feel to you and where they come to you, where they put their energy around you. Okay, so that's a good question, Madeline. So she's asking what dimension the unicorns are on and when did they leave our dimension. Okay, so I'm feeling Mystic stepping forward now, and she's now moving up more to this space, and she says they left this dimension when the Lemurians left. So they left with the Lemurians. And they move through dimensions. They tend not to stay too much in one dimension. And they've grouped in a couple different ones, but most of them, she says, are just within the 5th dimension, because they do come into this dimension quite often, and many of them also are in that inner earth dimension that's right within the core of Gaia as well. That's cool. And a lot of the elementals are in that inner earth dimension, which we have definitely termed over time, just through all of our myths and folktales, as that other world, that fairy that always gets talked about, that in stories people just stumble into and they never come out of. That's that inner earth. So that was one really cool thing that I loved connecting when I asked the unicorns about that a few months ago. That the fairy realm is the inner earth, which is fantastic. We just have different names for it now that are more in tune with what other energies term it as. Ooh, that's a good question, Karen. So she's asking how the unicorns came to focus so much on children. Mystic's answering this one. And she says that is part of how they were created. They were created to embody the light of Source as it first comes into a physical form. They were made to embody that purity, that innocence, that joy that is of a child. And so by that, creation, that became their focus and their domain. And yes, they do work closely with Source because of their position working with children, working with souls that have incarnated back into a physical body. Aww. She says, and that is why they do have such a strong, they have such a heart center and are so strong with their love. Aww. That's sweet. So, with that, and on that note, because that's just so lovely and absolutely beautiful. Oh my gosh. I encourage all of you, definitely, if you've never called the unicorns in, ask them to come into your space and get a feel for them. And if you were a child who believed in unicorns, or if you are a child who believes in unicorns, tap back into that and tune into if you ever had that unicorn, or maybe you had another being that was a fairy or maybe a dwarf that you were really connected with as that being that you dreamed about a lot or that you saw as a child. Just tune in to how you imagine them. Tune into that energy that you always got from them. And then just ask if they are a being, they are a separate entity that exists out there, or perhaps, because as we've just discovered with Santa, they may even be a being that has just been brought into manifestation through much collective imagining or even your own imagining. 'Cause if there's anything I've learned by connecting with spirit, it's just how powerful we are and how powerful our thoughts are. And as both Jorah and Mystic were saying, just how much we can do with our own beliefs. So I'm wishing all of you a wonderful, magical rest of your day and so much love. And I will see all of you next Saturday. I'm going to be channeling Saint Germain. So I'll have an event put up in the group all about the specific times and whatnot shortly. So until next time, have a wonderful rest of your day.